Gents, I don't even want you to see me. Thank you for joining me at the Have a Coke and a Smile Rant. Yeah, after a while, I'm going to stop saying that. No, as you know, I get tired of it. I didn't want you to see me because if you thought it was filthy yesterday, I'm worse today. Working on the farm, I was about to throw away my clothes, old clothes, that before we got the job to work at this farm. And it's a good thing I didn't. Well, my old clothes have purpose, you know. They come in and get filthy. Now, I have to go out after this, but I have to go home and bathe. There's no way I'm going in public looking the way I do. Well, anyway, as I was leaving the farm, a thought popped into my head. And it was a sermon T.D. Jakes spoke on, and it was called, "Can You Handle Success?" And that's a serious thing. And I love that sermon. That's before me and T.D. Jakes fellow. Yeah, we fellowed, so I don't particularly listen to him anymore. But my sister loves him, so once in a while, if I'm by her and I want to watch Jeopardy on the big screen TV, I have to sit through T.D. Jakes or go and watch it on the smaller TV. So, I don't have time for T.D. Jakes anymore. But anyway, like my grandmother said, you eat the fish, spit out the bones. I learned a valuable lesson from him. Can you handle success? And he admitted that he couldn't handle success because from where he was in Virginia, he had a small church, so that affected his mind. So that's what he expected when he came to Texas. And he had to scramble to keep up with how fast the church was growing. He had no idea the church would grow that fast, so he was not prepared for it. So he preached a sermon on that, and he's saying it's no fault of his or anyone else's, because the average Joe Blow in the world come from a situation where they barely have enough to meet their needs, so much less get what they want. So it affects your thinking and the way you look at the world. So he said his thinking was, when he came to a new city, he brought the thinking from Virginia to Dallas. I think that's where it is, his church is. And when he got to Dallas, the people in Dallas were not the people in Virginia. And it took him a while to adapt to it. And gentlemen, this is like the saying, new levels, new devils. But I don't believe in that, but then I look at it as being new levels, new challenges. Gentlemen, you may mess around and hit your lick, and the seasons in your life may change overnight. So guess what? For you to handle that, your thinking must change also, and you've got to adapt quickly. Now, what is interesting, I was about to do this rant on being able to adjust to adjust to changes in your life quickly psychologically. That's one of the many lessons I learned from Miyamoto Musashi from his book of 5 Rings. But anyway, gents, being from a situation where there's so much you need and you don't have the means by which to meet your needs all the time, it's like a frog in a well looking up and thinking the circumference of the well is the world, because that's the only part of the world it sees because it's in that well. Now, could you imagine the frog's shock whenever it gets a chance to hop out of the well and realize how big the world is? Now, gentlemen, I want you to remember that where you are in life, it has absolutely nothing to do with the world. So rather than wait to adjust psychologically from being in the bottom of a well and seeing the world as the circumference of that well, know this: the world is a big place. You may mess around and hit a lick. So you've got to be able to handle it. See, this is why in the Empress Club, we stress discipline, self-control, integrity, principles, values, and morals. Because just imagine if you come from, let's say you come from the well, where you just have, let's say, make $30,000 a year. So you see the world through $30,000 a year, because you can't purchase more than $30,000 worth of stuff within the year. Now let's just say you hit a lick, you write an app, and you sell it for $20 million. Can you handle having $20 million after living off $30,000, say, for 5 years? Excuse me. Can you handle that? Would you be able to control the urge to splurge? Like you see most, especially professional athletes. You work, because I mean, I never understood it, because after working with my friends who were athletes, I was like, what, how these dudes go broke? You know how hard you have to work as an athlete? That's about 4-6 hours in the weight room alone. And you just go and waste the money, you splurge. And then, excuse me, a radio talk show host had said it on the news, but she was talking about politicians. That when you're not used to anything, she's talking to politicians, when you finally get something, you go crazy. You can't control yourself, you can't contain yourself. Now, gentlemen, you have to be prepared for success. You have no idea right now that when you go to bed tonight, in your dreams or just as you awake, you are going to get an idea that's going to take you from where you are to 10, 20, even $50 million. Will you be able to handle all of the responsibility that comes with so much wealth? Now, like Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true, and as night follows day, you'll be true to others. Don't lie to yourself. Now, come on, because I said now, when I hit my lick, I'm getting me a Porsche, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini. What else? That's my thing. Porsche, Ferraris, and Lamborghinis. I get the 458 Ferrari. I love that. The F430 Spider. 3 different types of Lamborghinis. Just 2 Porsches. The 1984 911 Carrera and an up-to-date one. Now, as I got older, I realized, whoa, I'm going to spend over $1 million on cars? Do you have any idea how much money that is? And then my mind went on this. So when T.D. Jakes talked about discernment, can you handle success? Now, I'm not going to go crazy with the wild parties, because my thing is, truthfully, I would go to school with the money and travel. The only thing I splurge on would be those cars. That's it. But I don't think I would go crazy. There would be no wild parties and no fast living. That's not me. But the splurge would have been on those 3 types of cars. So I'll admit it to myself. I would go crazy with the cars. And watches. I love watches. Not so much jewelry, but watches. That's about it. I think if I got $20 million when I was 25, I don't think I would have destroyed myself. Now, I may have done things I regret, like spending more than $1 million on cars. But that's about it. But anyway, gentlemen, that's my rant. Tell yourself the truth. What would you do if tomorrow you wake up with a $20 million idea? All right, gentlemen, that's your insurance against destroying yourself. Tell yourself the truth. What are you going to do with the money? Oh, and another thing came to mind. The reason why I felt I wouldn't destroy myself with lots of money is because of how I was paying my tithes as a child. I was able to make 100% of my money and govern myself to live off 90% of it. And even if I'd won the money, I found myself doing I split my money up into tens. So 10% will go to tithes, 20% will go into saving, 10% to save, 20% for my family, and I'll have 10% for, let's say, I wouldn't say, yeah, for people I care about. If they have a business or something going on in their life and they need help, financial help, I would help. So basically that leaves me about 30%. I mean, that 10%, I live off that for 10 years. Just leaving 20% of the money just liquid. In case if there's calamity or an opportunity that presents itself to make more money. And gentlemen, that's why I think being a good steward, I talked about, or Money Matters, in the Kingmaker, in the chapter Money Matters, I talked about paying your tithes. It's not a religious thing. Like Mike Murdoch was saying, paying your tithes is like, what did he say? Oh, what is it? It's like offering a sacrifice. So it's like, by honoring God with your 10% for telling him thanks for giving you health, strength, and wisdom to make the 100%. I hate to say it, but it's like buying insurance or favor. So you would be amazed how easy it is to live off 90% of your money once you get in a habit of paying your tithes. And now, don't forget now, the Bible said the Lord loves a cheerful giver. Now, if you're not giving it from your heart, don't do it, because you're sending the wrong energy with it. Now, I did it as a child because I was overly pious. So I had no attachment to the money. Obeying the word of the Lord to me was more important than the money. So anyway, John, that's my rant. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget, success is there for you to enjoy, not for you to destroy yourself. So be prepared for it, gentlemen. Catch you on the flip side.